Hey everybody, I'm Ellie Mae, joined with Shannon in 3, 2, 1, 0. Here she should be. There she is. And we are coming to you live as usual on this amazing Wednesday. We're halfway through the week. Woohoo. Today's question is a little different. We wanted to give you a chance to talk to us about what you're passionate about in politics. We like to just have conversations on both sides here at Soapbox. So today's question is, what political issue are you most passionate about? There have been several polls that we have done in the past that have gotten a lot of reaction, so we can go over some of those hot button items that you guys voted in and commented on so much, from immigration to Stormy Daniels to Paul Ryan to so many different things. But there's always that one issue, that you kind of have close to your heart. I guess I can't really say that because I have a few of them, but I feel like there's always that one issue that you are very passionate about, which is why we want to talk to you about that today. So please comment and call in so we can chat. I know one topic I'm a little passionate about, which is hilarious. Shannon and I used to talk about this, is I am sick of the outrage. That is so profitable. I am outraged about the outrage. We were kind of joking about that when I was visiting her a while ago, and I went on this whole rant where I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't take how outraged people get and how it just, whatever. Anyway, Ryan said free speech, even as something as simple as saying boys are boys and girls are girls. So free speech is first of all. First comment. Shannon, do you have anything that's near and dear to your heart? Actually, first, Jacob says homelessness is an important issue to me. That is a very important issue, and I like that. I like that one a lot.
Why that's so close to your heart. We're curious to hear more about that from you.
Yes. Do you have a issue close to your heart?
I think this is my sort of, I think people expect, and this is totally an okay answer to this, and we want to hear this from you, people to be like, oh, like the economy or like jobs or like whatever. To me, and for you, you're talking about like the outrage in politics, which I think is so important. For me, it's the idea of results-based politicking. So like the idea, basically everyone wants the same thing. Like if you talk to Republicans or Democrats or conservatives, liberals, moderates, independents, whatever, everyone wants people to have access to a good education, be able to get a job, raise their family, a strong, independent America, world peace. Like that's a cliche and a joke because everyone wants that. We just disagree on how to get there. I think what we do is we don't actually test out what works and what doesn't. It's like people argue all the time. They're like, no, this way or this way or this way. It's like, just implement it either via states' rights. That's why we have states' rights. Like that should be, okay, here's a caller from Texas. Hi, caller from Texas. Tell us, what are you passionate about?
I'm calling on regards to Gina being the new CIA director.
Oh, okay. Sure. Go ahead. What do you think about that?
She's the very first woman being the first CIA director, correct?
She is. That's right.
Okay, well, I support it 100%. They do need a female in the CIA at that higher level, so they should do it.
Well, I am also, I think we're both excited about the first female CIA president. So today we're actually talking about what political issues are people most passionate about. So tell us, what is sort of closest to your heart? What are the political issues that you feel strongest about?
Well, I did feel strong about them moving the embassy to Jerusalem, from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, so I'm happy about that. And other issues, Trump and his issues, but other than that, I'm pretty okay with everything else.
Well, great. Thank you so much for calling in. We really appreciate your point of view, sir. I feel like he had some passion. I probably should have poked at him a little bit. I feel like everyone has something they're passionate about.
Yeah.
But yeah, to finish my screed, basically, I feel like one of the reasons that I so firmly believe that states' rights is I think it literally, states are supposed to be the testing ground for what works nationwide. And I think we should even dial this down. Like even in, for example, someone had mentioned homelessness. as one of their top issues. In the Bay Area, that's a huge issue because the cost of living is so high. Affordable housing basically doesn't exist. So even within the state of California, I feel like let's use San Francisco, let's use the Bay Area as a microcosm and try to implement different policies. I feel like I was just reading about in Seattle, actually, the city council is just voted unanimously to pass a head tax on companies that make over $20 million, which basically means the more employees you have, the more you have to pay. So like for each additional employee you add, you have to pay a head tax, which I'm like pretty against. But what really bugged me about that, and where I do stand with the businesses who were protesting against it, including obviously Amazon is the biggest, I think, employer in the Seattle area. Their point was, look, you, the city council, you have already grown your budget by, I think it was like $10 million over the past 4 years, but homelessness has also grown during that time. So let's actually see like results-based work. Let's have a hypothesis, let's test it, let's figure out how we're measuring it. And then if it doesn't work out, move on to something else. Like, hi, is this a caller from Minnesota?
Soapbox message me, tell you my most, passionate political thing.
Yeah, please go ahead. We want to hear what you're passionate about.
The Second Amendment.
I forgot about that issue. Oh my gosh.
So is that your top issue of that's how you usually vote is based on people's Second Amendment stances?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And do you think the Second Amendment is like in danger or
That's right. I wouldn't say in danger, though.
Well, thank you so much for calling in. We have another caller that I'm going to jump to, but we really appreciate your thoughts. Hi, caller from Illinois. Tell us, what are you passionate about?
Homelessness.
Homelessness. We've gotten a few things about that.
That was my comment. I decided to call in and talk more about it.
Oh, great. We love that. So tell us, why is this something that's close to your heart?
Well, I've been through homelessness. I was homeless with my disabled mother for, I'd say about a year.
Oh my gosh.
We were able to get out. But I have to say that if I wasn't with my mom and I wasn't able to get us out, she would have died by herself. She's disabled. She has all these problems. She can't work. And a lot of conservatives would call her a moocher of the system. They call her lazy. They would find any way they can to say, oh, she can work somehow, because they think Social Security is a handout. And that's not true. My mom cannot work. She worked 23, 30 years, and then she just couldn't anymore. She has speed problems, back problems. And let me tell you, homelessness is a big issue. So many homeless people are disabled. They are not these alcoholics or drug addicts that conservatives would like to tell you that they are. Because they're not. I went downtown. I talked to all these homeless people. They were disabled. They were on Social Security. It wasn't paying them enough. Or they had a home, but like I said, the Social Security wasn't paying them enough, and they had to either choose between eating or paying bills.
Oh,
and that's not
gosh.
right. We have a homelessness and poverty issue that we need to talk about, and Donald Trump is talking about it. I know he talked about it once during a debate, a Republican debate. 2016, he talked about it once. He said people are dying on the streets, and he's elected. He talked about it. He was elected, and I have not heard him say the word homelessness, and that's sad, really, really sad. And I'd like politicians to talk about it because no one ever talks about it, because the unacceptable stereotype that they're all drug addicts and alcoholics spread around. Politicians need to start talking about it. Donald Trump needs to talk about it. Democrats need to talk about it, and Republicans need to talk about it.
So what are some of the programs that you'd like to see in place, or what are some of the things you think that we should be doing that our government's not doing to help homeless people?
Social Security should not take 2 to 5 years for approval. It should take a week at best. Social Security processes need to be faster. We need better programs for people that are waiting for Social Security approval to have housing where they can wait for that approval. They shouldn't be waiting on the street. And people cannot go to doctor's appointments. They cannot, go through the process of a Social Security disabled, autistic, who knows, mentally, physically, we need better programs to solve this, to get these disabled individuals off the street, and we need to stop perpetuating this terrible thing saying that all homeless people are drug addicts and alcoholics, because conservatives push that around. And I know there's a conservative individual right next to you, and I want to hear her opinion on this.
Yeah. So I completely agree with you that conservatives, they tend to generalize when it comes to people who need assistance, whether it's just food stamps or disability or anything like that. And I myself have been through really yucky, horrible times, so I am very sympathetic. I think it's important to look at things on an individual basis, and for conservatives to absolutely stop generalizing. And I don't know how many of our politicians tend to generalize, but people who are conservative voters do. Online, you see it all the time. Like you said in the beginning, conservatives will call them moochers and things like that. And I, as a conservative, encourage people to donate to charities and things like that to help with these horrible issues. And I definitely think that, you know, assistance is needed. And with a country that like ours that is prosperous, there's absolutely the ability to have a safety net. And I believe in that. I also believe that there are abuses that happen, but when those small abuses are turned into a generalization to demonize people who truly need help, that's when you run into big problems. So passionate people like you are what we need to make change, and I applaud how passionate you are, and that's exactly why we are doing a show like this today, and I absolutely enjoyed hearing everything you just said.
Thank you for being one of the good ones. We need more conservatives. Let me tell you, with conservatives like Steve King or individuals who will say that all poor people need food stamps ripped away from them or whatever, I mean, sure, there are people that take advantage of it. I'm not going to deny that, but to generalize them all,
right?
I can tell you so many stories of homeless people that were disabled that died on the street, that weren't found for months. You know what happens when a homeless person dies on the street? Most people don't know this, but let me tell you, when a homeless person dies on the street, their body, no one claims the body or whatever, family can't pay, but they're buried in a wood coffin unmarked grave with a bunch of other people, and if their family finds out, they don't know where they're buried. They can't visit their mother, their father, their sister, their brother, because they're buried with a bunch of other people. That's what poor people are buried like, and most people don't know that. And I applaud the conservative lady who is not one of the bad ones, and I hope that more conservatives like her run for office. And we need democratic Republicans running for office that are not just all talk and no action. We need people that do what they mean, what they say, and say what they mean. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for calling in. This has honestly been such just an eye-opening, very thoughtful conversation. We really loved talking to you.
Thank you so much.
And I hope to call in again.
Yes, please
do.
And thank you so much, Jacob. We'll talk to you later. Wow, that's
amazing. This is exactly why we are doing a show like this today, because there are things that are close to your guys' hearts that we really want to talk about, because that's what's important. And the things that you're passionate about is what is going to enable change, because you're not going to, you know, make change when you don't really care about something. But the things that are close to your heart is what will get people to start making changes. And that's so amazing, and I feel inspired right now, and it's awesome.
Oh, that was incredible. Hi, caller from Pennsylvania. Tell us, what are you passionate about?
Well, I think you should take the House and Senate and have limited terms for them people.
Yeah.
Congressional term limits.
I agree.
Yes.
That is a good answer. Well, thank you.
Back in 1945, they did it to the President of the United States.
Right. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. We have another call, but thank you so much for calling in. Hi, caller from Virginia. Tell us, what are you passionate about in politics?
Mueller isn't going to take any action on Trump, and I'm happy about that. And I really want to see somebody go after the Democrats and the FBI and all the criminals that are involved and what's going on.
Well, thank you so much. We have another call, but thank you for sharing your thoughts. Hi, caller from California. So tell us, what are you passionate about?
I have two things that I'm passionate about. One is keeping our Second Amendment intact, and the other one is building the damn wall.
Wow. All right. Well, you're our Second Amendment caller. But the first to mention the wall. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for calling in. We appreciate hearing your thoughts. Okay, wait. I just saw someone in the comments say this. Is that true? Mueller came out and said he's not.
I don't know. I saw something about something, but it was about, I saw something about something. Deep Thoughts with Ellie on a Wednesday. No, I saw something on Fox News, sorry to say, about Giuliani saying that he thinks that he won't be indicted or something. I don't know.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, Giuliani says a sitting president can be indicted. Is basically what he's saying.
Okay. Is that true?
What?
I didn't know that.
Wasn't Bill Clinton indicted?
I don't, yeah.
So I feel like, let's look that up. Let's Google this. Bill Clinton indictment.
So I have some polls that, oh, by the way, on a really quick side note, I'm also passionate about capitalism. Okay. And I think,
Logo.
yeah, enjoy capitalism. Anyway, some of our polls, while you're looking that up, what was their call?
One more caller. There's a Tennessee caller. Hi, caller from Tennessee. Tell us, what are you passionate about?
I support Hatchville store.
Oh, another Gina Haspel.
Yes, I do.
Great. So today we're talking about what political issues are people most passionate about. So I'm curious, what are some of the issues that are closest to your heart?
Medicare and Social Security.
Gotcha. Interesting. So what do you think? Do you think they need to be reformed? We need to overhaul the entitlements program, or do you think we need more investment in those two programs?
I think they need to quit giving so much of it away to illegal and worry about the older people. That's exactly what I think.
Well, Social Security only goes to older people, and if you don't have papers, you don't get Medicare or Social Security.
I understand that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying they're taking away from Social Security and Medicare to give to them in other programs. And you know it's happening, and I know it's happening.
So I actually disagree with that. I think that it is very hard to actually get governmental support if you don't have papers and you're here illegally. And I've talked to multiple illegal immigrants who they are not able to get a driver's license, they're not able to get insurance, they're not able to get any sort of government support because they don't have any documentation that they're a citizen. So those programs are only available to citizens.
You know that's not true. You know that's not true. But
Well,
that's okay. That's my opinion anyway. Thank you.
all right, thank you, ma'am. Agree to disagree.
Yeah. Okay, I was just reading some comments, but back to really quick. We do polls in our Soapbox app, and some of them, they get thousands and thousands of votes. And I just picked some of them to show. One I liked. Do you have friends on the opposite of the opposite political party as you? And most people said yes, so that's awesome. Good job, Soapbox voters. And I liked, seeing stuff like this where it's like the majority agree. So that's about taxpayer dollars funding first class politicians flying first class. So I like when most people agree. And then we have some almost 50-50 ones like about DACA. But these are the polls that you guys were I think, the most passionate about. And most of them, so it's like about Russia, DACA, trusting the FBI, and things like that. So that's fun. A lot of great comments in those sections as well. Cheryl Smith says, getting rid of corrupt White House and Congress. Gary says the Second Amendment. Kamal says national security. Let's see. Now, Louis says build the wall. What?
Martin, get liberals and conservatives out. Vote libertarian.
I'm down. Actually, for real.
Start a movement. No more liberals and conservatives, just libertarian. I think like a lot of people, certainly in the Bay Area where I'm at, there are a lot of people who are more sort of fiscally conservative and more socially liberal, and in fact have a lot of beliefs that align with, I think, the Libertarian Party.
Absolutely.
Half the Green Party, half the Libertarian Party.
Yeah, that's totally, I definitely can see that. That's actually where my grandpa lines up, and the rest of that side of the family are all very liberal, but he is more libertarian. He's like, we have fun talks about Trump, and oh my gosh, it's just hilarious. So, and I mean, Shannon, wait, is your family pretty passionate about politics, your whole family?
So my mom's side, my grandparents on that side are really passionate about politics, but they're conservatives. And then my dad's side is like super passionate about politics, and they're liberal.
That's so interesting. I didn't know you had, that's awesome. So two of, I think, our best callers obviously was Jacob, and then we had someone call in about term limits, which I think Shannon and I both agree with. So that is cool. Term limits, homelessness. I think we had some people talking about free speech. It's been a great. Second Amendment. Yes, a lot of Second Amendment. Medicare.
I was just reading this interesting article about term limits where someone was saying, they were sort of playing devil's advocate, and they were saying that actually if you have term limits, that would probably make politicians even more reliant on lobbyists because they don't have to build their own infrastructure. And they were saying that instead we should try to make the races really, really competitive. So instead of it being like, as an incumbent, you basically have like 10x the chance of winning, and it's just easy to like keep getting elected. There needs to be more competition in each district. So even if you're an incumbent, it's like someone new could come in, like you saw this with the Tea Party. You're seeing that now with a lot of liberals, like Bernie Sanders supporters. Someone could come in and outflank you even from your same party, and it's actually like much more competitive. And I was like, oh, that's interesting, because I am super against lobbyists. Like, and if these would actually exacerbate that problem, then I do feel like we should think of some other ways that would sort of decrease the influence.
Yeah, and a lot of people think, you get the government you deserve. If people aren't voting, that's what we get. And I just think that's stupid. If we can put protections in place that will help the corruption, I'm all for it. That's why we can vote for that. But I've heard that about the lobbyists and relying on staff members that are more familiar. But I think it's worth a try. Obviously, the president is term limited, and I mean, I don't know. I had another thought, but I forgot it, so I'll just move on. But I'm definitely about trying term limits. But I think there would be problems, of course, just like with anything. And one problem is it's really unfortunate when you get a super rock star congressman or senator and then they have to go because they're term limited. But also there is an incentive to be an awesome congressman or senator because you only have a short time to make a legacy, so you better do it. So, I mean, if you have to be a little reliant on lobbyists, that's going to suck. And, I think there's a chance that it would work out really well, though, actually. So, I don't know.
Outlaw lobbyists. Well, it goes back to like what I was saying earlier. I honestly, for an issue like this, it's like, look, just try it. Do it at a state level. All states to have, I know there are some states that maybe have term limits. Like, see what happens in Montana and California and Alabama if you have term limits. Like, does that increase, the transparency? Like, do they get more laws passed? Does it increase the reliance on lobbyists? Like, just try it out. And that's what I feel like, for example, like charter schools is another very hot button issue. And everyone argues back and forth on the theory behind it. And I'm like, yes, that's important. You want to have smart people who have, evidence-based, but just try it. Like, there are people on both sides for or against who have compelling arguments. So just allow charter schools, like have, a microcosm, like try it in a big city in one state, try it in an entire state and see what happens. Like, do college rates go up? Does unemployment drop? Do people do kids test better? Like, whatever your metrics are, decide on the metrics and then try it out. And that's why I support states' rights.
Amen. So do I. Common ground. Jean says hello, Jean, but we are gonna have to say goodbye here in like 10 seconds. So we are wrapping up. Another thing people wanted was the good old. Hold on, let me get the graphic. It was peace. We all want peace. And I think it's good to realize most of us do have different approaches to certain things, but we all mostly agree on the problem. So if we can just come together knowing we might have a little bit of a different approach to society, that's okay, but we can all talk about it and it's going to be okay. So it's been great. It's Wednesday again. Happy Wednesday. You're halfway through the week, actually pretty much more than halfway now. So we will see you tomorrow on Thursday. It's been a pleasure, guys. Any last thoughts, Shannon?
Nope, I think that was it. Great. I love the show. That guy, Jacob, calling in.
You made the show, Jacob. Thank you. All right, see you guys tomorrow.